Hey guys, Dr. Davin Lim, board certified laser dermatologist. Thank you very much for joining me on this week's topic. We'll forget about that. So this is what we use as dermatologists, this and lasers to treat pigmentation. I'm giving you 5 home remedies. In other words, DIY. So you don't need to see a person like myself or a dermatologist to get your pigmentation treated. Now remember, not in all cases can we treat pigmentation. The most important aspect of pigmentation is to actually identify the type of pigmentation. Whether we're dealing with melasma, which has a certain pattern, as you can see. You can see with melasma, it's got a broken up pattern around the eye area, it often affects the forehead area as well. Or are we dealing with other forms of pigmentation such as freckles? Freckles are really easy to identify. They come and go. They're better in winter and lower UV exposure and worse in summer. And it's often genetic and you get them as kids. So freckling is something that's super easy to treat with DIY products. Or are we dealing with sun damage? And sun damage can occur with different sorts of pigmentation. So you can have lentigos, or you can have macular keratosis. These are all words we describe to describe the actual type of pigmentation. Okay, so you can also have solar dysplasia, in other words, sun damage that causes precancerous areas. So it's very important to identify the type of pigmentation and then we can treat it. Now, I do not consider sunscreen as treatment. So this forms the basis of all treatments, but it is that's just foundation. Okay, so you've got to use sunscreen twice a day. If you're treating pigmentation, you've got to actually step it up with your sunscreen use. You can't use an SPF 15 or SPF 30, you've got to use an SPF 50. You've got to apply it on twice a day, 20 minutes before sun exposure, and at least 5 grams for your face. Wear hats as well. And remember, 2 types of sunscreen: everyday sunscreen, weekend sunscreen, thicker sunscreen for such a waterproof sunscreen because you're going to sweat a lot. So that's a foundation, it's not a treatment. So let's step into the treatments. What can you do to treat pigmentation? So certainly pigmentation like melasma can respond to something like this, an AHA or BHA. You can use that as an exfoliating scrub. You can also buy a cream, so something like we discussed, an alpha hydroxy acid or glycolic acid cream. Start off low at 10, go up to 15. You can also use a BHA or beta hydroxy acid. So alpha hydroxy acids, number 1. Okay, number 2. We can use good old retinol, vitamins. So what kind of vitamins? Vitamin A. So vitamin A can also help reduce your pigment production, but also exfoliate your skin. So the use of vitamin A, you can see in my other videos on how to use. We start off with a very low strength, like a retinol, and you can buy this over the counter. You don't need a prescription, so you don't need to spend money to see a dermatologist, nor do you need a prescription. So you can buy this from most pharmacies, even Walmart, or if you're in Australia, Chemist Warehouse. But there's a link below to which pharmacy you can buy it. And once again, I'm not affiliated with any pharmacy at all, so no conflicts of interest. Vitamin C. Okay, so number 3, your third hint, vitamin C. Why do we use vitamin C to treat pigmentation? Because it acts as an antioxidant, a free radical scavenger. So vitamin C is compounded often in creams and all that we use to treat melasma, because it actually acts as an antioxidant. It prevents the hydroquinone from going off, but also it scavenges free radicals. So vitamin C is very, very important. So remember your A, B's, and C's. Those are your the A, B, C, and C is the basis of skincare. Okay, now the 4th thing, which is controversial, but it's been proven, is the use of plant extracts. So you see all these natural remedies, do they actually work? The answer is yes, it's shown in scientific papers. So licorice, for example, has been shown beyond a shadow of a doubt in scientific papers to actually decrease the enzyme which produces melanin, or in other words, pigment. So licorice actually works. Plant extracts actually work as well. So if you look into all those natural channels where they go, hey, we're using potato to treat pigmentation, is there a science behind it? Yes, there is. But it's not the ordinary potato which you go buy from a supermarket and put it on your face, and next thing you know, all your pigmentation goes. No, it's a special type of potato. Unless you live in Africa, it's actually called an African potato. I don't know what that is. All I know is that you can't find it in Australia, and there's no scientific studies. So I've done my what's known as a PubMed search. So I searched all the scientific literature in regards to controlled studies. None exist, but it's shown to actually reduce the pigmentation output. But there are no control studies. So does it work? In theory, yes, it does, and that's why companies like Neostrata are formulating licorice extracts, plant extracts, and some with Lytera. So Lytera is another product you can buy over the counter. Okay, now for the fifth one, which is rather controversial, is this superfied hydroquinone. We use hydroquinone a lot to treat different forms of pigmentation, including melasma and even freckling, as well as sun damage, as well as post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation secondary to acne. So in Australia, at least, you can buy this over the counter. I know in some countries like South Africa, it's illegal due to ochronosis, in other words, rebound pigmentation, but certainly superfade you can buy from over the counter or the pharmacy down below. In the US, I think hydroquinone is controlled. You can't go out and buy Cligmans, but the dermatologist has to prescribe. But this certainly over the counter in Australia. So those are my 5 top tips for DIY pigmentation removal. Now in the next couple of minutes, you'll see how I approach pigmentation and how I treat it as a laser dermatologist. Thanks for watching the next couple of minutes. Q-switch lasers, both in the nano and picosecond wavelengths, form the basis of our pigment removal. You should have multiple handpieces for the different types of pigmentation we treat. This forms the basis of pigment removal. Certainly BBL, IPL, that can help with certain forms of pigmentation, but they can make melasma worse. I also use fractionated lasers in certain situations, and in this case a fractional CO2. Fully ablative CO2 can also be used. These are high-powered lasers. Fraxel can be used for certain types of pigmentation. A vascular laser with the cooling turned off can actually be very helpful for pigmentation removal, but this is what I normally use, the Fraxel 1927, which is excellent. One of my favorite all-time lasers for pigment, and with that, the diode-driven, clear and brilliant as well. So these are the lasers that form the basis. Now, for the treatment itself, once we identify the treatment for example, melasma, we may use something like a nanosecond laser, such as this. And multiple treatments are needed. If it's more resistant, I would use a picosecond in a 755 wavelength, such as PicoSure. And once again, this is excellent for breaking them up. Pigmentation, which is more resistant, especially in ethnic skin types. A Fraxel laser can be used if you're treating generalized pigmentation. Certainly IPL, like I said, the M22 is an excellent system from Luminous. I used to run Luminous, but now I also run the BBL by Cyton. And it's great for generalized pigmentation and also sun damage. So sun damage can be used. This is one of my favorite lasers as well. So I have heaps of favorite lasers, but this is a clear and brilliant. And it's a great laser because it is so flexible. It can be used to treat different kinds of pigmentation, and it delivers energy which is controlled, and the healing up process is super fast. So I use this to treat both sun damage, freckles, but also melasma. And if I use it to treat melasma, it's done in a very specific manner, delivering both copper peptides together with hydroquinone into the skin. That's using the 1927 per mere wavelength. So you can see the recovery shortly of what one treatment can do in regards to pigmentation. So this is baseline. Look at the blotchy pigmentation there, and this is day 3. So the healing up time for this laser is super quick, and just watch what happens over the week. This is day 7. This is just one treatment with a virtually zero downtime, and that's a much better pigmentation removal. So that's a clear and brilliant for you. It also tightens skin with a little X there. These are examples of clear and brilliant and how they work as well. Once again, an excellent all-round laser which is safe in virtually all skin types. Melasma, certainly it can be used to treat melasma, but I usually prefer
the Q-switch lasers. So these are some before and afters using Fraxel together with BBL, and that's what we get just with just one treatment and one treatment only. Melasma is a little bit more complex. I have to use many treatments using a low fluence Q-switch laser together with hydroquinone, and this is what we get before and afters. Melasma can be improved, but it has to be well respected in multiple treatments using a low fluence or low dose laser. The classic presentation of melasma around the eyes, and once again before and afters using low fluence laser. Freckles as well as sun damage, very easy to treat, 1927 fractionated laser. For thicker treatments like this, or thicker lesions I should say, I use what's known as an erbium laser, and erbium can remove sunspots which are thicker, but it can also rejuvenate the skin, improving both wrinkling as well as pigmentation. The pinnacle of pigment lasers is what's called a picosecond laser. This is before and after. Look at the improvement, not only in the pigmentation, which is mixed pigmentation, but look at the improvement in wrinkling and skin texture. Absolutely amazing. Like I said, laser technology has come a long way, and the picosecond lasers are excellent.
Okay guys, thanks for watching that. I hope that clarifies things. Try all these DIY tips before seeing a dermatologist. You may not need to see a dermatologist. Whatever you do, don't go into aesthetic stores because they'll sell you everything. You only need those active ingredients if you are looking at pigmentation reduction. Okay, don't forget your sunscreen, and like I said, with all of these active ingredients, buy the highest concentration you can over the counter. Always have a blend moisturizer, something like a Baji or aqueous cream or whatever you like, and then you can mix that with that if you have any skin irritation. So you always start slow and then build up high. But if you can use a dilution technique, it saves you money and it also gives you flexibility. And then you can start adding things. And down the track, I'll show you little funky little things like using the Clarisonic to act as an exfoliant, or to use beta hydroxy acid first and then an beta hydroxy acid scrub first and then possibly an AHA later. But once again, these are all advanced techniques, and the last thing you want to do is irritate your skin. So start slow, work up from there. Guys, thank you very much for watching that short segment on 5 DIY at-home tips. I'll see you again next week, and we can talk about something else like possibly laser. Guys, please like, subscribe, share. Really like it if you guys chime your thoughts in regard to things, and yeah, ask me some questions, gladly answer. I'll see you next Saturday, and thanks for watching. Bye.